Hello and welcome to the Athletic NBA Show, live from Sin City, Las Vegas, NBA Summer League 2023. Gentlemen, we've been here for a few days. This city, as you know, over the course of time, it eats at your soul a little bit. How we all feeling? We still got energy?
Hey, my
We
soul is
okay?
intact, Playboy. I'm good. My soul is good, even though I'm ready to go.
From
Mine
the
was
top
never
rope.
here, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
You leave that baby at home?
It never came.
All right.
My wallet a little beat up, but I'm holding up. I'm all right.
Okay.
I mean, Will from New Orleans is basically the same.
Yeah.
It's like
this
the
is
West Coast version
He's
of New
excited.
Orleans.
There's no humidity.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
what
less
he's happy
humidity.
about.
It's
he
great
good.
for me.
He good.
No question. Guys, we're happy to be here. We're going to chop it up today on a bunch of different things. But front and center, as you know, it's funny if you look out this window to our right, and if you went to the right a little bit, there is a gigantic sphere that was looking like a basketball that was promoting the NBA's in-season tournament, which has been the news of the week. The NBA launched all the details this week, made a kind of big hullabaloo about it, wanted media to come out and sing the song of this new and invigorated way that they had to make regular season basketball matter. That wasn't quite their marketing pitch, but that is what we are talking about here. Let's jump in a little bit, and eventually we're going to talk a little Jordan Poole, Mr. Thompson. You went to his press conference.
I did.
You know, we got different storylines to get into, but just like the play-in tournament before it, we now got this new outside-the-box idea that the league is launching. Listen, play-in tournament had all kinds of skeptics, myself among them. Next thing you know, you have a lot of good games, and it works out mostly for the better to this point. This thing has more layers to it. This thing is potentially more problematic when it comes to, trying to jam this into the middle of the regular season. Just quick, big picture thoughts on what they are trying to accomplish here and if it's going to get the job done.
I'm going to be a hater.
I don't like
Let's
it.
hear it.
It's not even that I don't like it. The play-in tournament I actually wasn't into, and I was completely wrong.
And this
Play-in
is Fred
tournament-
Katz, by the way. I didn't introduce anybody.
Yes,
Fred Katz.
yes,
Speak
and
to him.
that's Marcus Thompson.
Yes.
And that's
I
what
thought I was Fred.
Yeah. And
Don't
I'm
confuse
down.
the people.
This is an audio format. This is not. It's not going to work. The play-in tournament, I didn't like, but I understood why you could get into it. The reason I didn't like it is because I just didn't love the idea of a team with a worse record getting into the playoffs over a team with a better record just because they beat them one time at the end of the year. I was incorrect. It's really fun. The NBA made a great call doing it. I can't see why I or fans or anyone else should get into it. The players win money if they win.
$500,000.
If you win a title, you win the in-season tournament. I don't even know what we're going to call it. The NBA Cup, they say it is.
Yep.
You have $500,000 a player. Okay. That's why the players should care. For what it's worth, if you're on a max contract, I don't know if you even care about that because you're making $50 million a year to begin with, and that's not enough to move the needle for you
Preach.
at all.
Agreed.
But
Will lost that much this weekend.
Man, see why you got to bring up old stuff.
but why should I care? Why should John in Iowa care? Why should the fans care? And I'm probably going to get a call from
And I
Tim
Did
think-
he
Frank
just say
being like,
Joe?
"Here's why
Did
you
you
should care."
say who'd you say, John?
John in Iowa.
Is that like the Joe from what was
Joe the
John-
plumber.
Joe the plumber? Is it just
He's Joe's cousin.
Joe?
John from Iowa.
Why should Joe the plumber care?
No, I think
He
with
doesn't
the-
care anyway. I mean, you picked the one state with no team. That's great. Good job.
Well,
Right,
that's
yeah,
why.
great
That's
job,
why.
Fred.
But that's the
Yeah.
point. The point
Yeah.
is getting John from Iowa into it, right?
Yeah, and I think
What
with
you
the
got?
playing
Why?
tournament is, I think ultimately the main reason the playing tournament works is because single elimination basketball is always great. When it's win or go home, those games are always entertaining. Even if it's like the 10th and 11th seed in the West playing in that game, it's going to be fun to watch that game. But when we're talking about this in-season tournament where these guys are playing games throughout the regular season, where you're saying this game on Tuesday has more significance than this game on Thursday, then you got to be able to sell to fans, okay, why? Why should I care about this game more than that game? Why should these teams care about that game more than this game? And ultimately, I can understand where Adam Silver is coming from because he wants to kind of send the message that there's other stuff to play for than just the ring. I think what rings culture in the NBA is kind of more toxic than pretty much any other sport, where the only thing that matters is winning the ring. Nothing else matters. None of the regular season games matter. Even the conference finals don't matter. It's all about getting that ring. And I think he's pointed a lot to soccer culture in Europe, where teams can play for the Premier League, but they can also play for the FA Cup. They can play for the Champions League. You're competing for multiple trophies in one season, and every single game matters, even if you're competing for different things at the same time. But ultimately, if you're the Nuggets, if you're the Bucks, if you're the Warriors, why should you care about anything other than the title you win in June?
But see, to me, like, I get the idea based on, Champions League and FA Cup. The difference here is in those tournaments, there are other teams.
Yes.
You're playing the
Different
same
teams,
team you're
yeah.
going to play. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
bring in some G League teams.
Right.
Fly in some teams from the Spanish AB League. Like, you need some other stuff in there. Now it matters because now you get to see, Steph Curry against this person, right? But to basically run it back against the same team, like, it's like, all right, well, we play the Kings 3 times, and then we got to play them again for this. Like, to me, I understand the point, but if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And you might as well, at least it would be dope if somehow the G League Ignite won this thing, right? Then it'd be like a thing. Or if, like, Denver come in and play some team from, like, Lithuania and take an L. Now it has a little bit more significance, but
I feel like FIBA.
now there's some
better
new
believe
injection instead of just the same teams.
Those teams will come in and care about them games for sure.
Oh, no question.
If Real
Yeah.
Madrid got to play the Sacramento Kings, they will come in playing with their life on the line because if they get that win, that's huge for them.
Should we lay out how this is actually going to work?
Yeah.
Because
I have read I've read
idea.
the entire press release, and I still don't
I have
totally
no
get
idea,
it.
yeah.
So I could not expect any
Let me ask you
listener
this.
to possibly know
At
off
the
top of their head.
end, does the winner get like an extra playoff game or something?
No,
You
you
get
get just the money.
$500,000 a person.
See,
money.
that
That doesn't move the needle.
I would have imagined if you had won this and you lost the series, the game 4, but you get to cash this in. Like, we get one more game
I get
because
a
we won.
mulligan.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You got, one more game on the road. Give it, you know what I'm saying, to stay alive. That could have made it fun, but just money, like I don't know about the
Yeah,
money.
I agree. It doesn't. That gives the players incentives.
Yeah.
It doesn't give anybody else. Should we run through this though, because it's more complicated than just like the playoffs where all the teams come in and you have a normal bracket, and normal tournament, and that's it. Because it's during the regular season, and every game except for the championship game counts as a regular season game.
Break it down.
So it starts off in the knockout rounds. This is according to the release that the NBA put out. They're calling it the knockout round. So 8 teams will advance to the knockout rounds. Before that, or I guess it starts out
It starts with group play,
with
right?
group
Yeah.
play.
Group play,
So-
November 3rd.
Right, group play November 3rd, where there are 6 different, basically, divisions. And the divisions, the West Group, the West Group B, the West Group C, the East Group A, the East Group B, and the East Group C, those groups are all determined by record in the previous season. And there's group play. Whoever does the best in group play moves on to the knockout rounds, which is 8 teams. So you're winners of each group and 2 wild cards. The semifinals go on in December. December 7th, I believe, and the final is December 9th. It does not count as a regular season game. I wonder, by the way, if it doesn't count as a regular season game, and we constantly hear players don't want to load manage, but the teams tell them they have to load manage. The medical staffs tell them they have to load manage. Why is the medical staff not going to advise any star to load manage the championship game, which doesn't count towards a regular season at all? Like, if the incentive is only for the player, why are they advising them not to load manage?
Especially if the team that's playing for a championship, like, might be in the running for a real championship.
Right.
It's like, yo, I'm not playing you for this.
What if the Clippers
Yeah.
are playing for the NBA Cup in the finals, and Kawhi is there, and you don't want to add an extra game onto him, and you get him an extra day of rest, and
And
it's,
that's what I was going to say. The guys who we're talking about load management, those are the dudes who are not going to miss $500K, right? Like Kawhi is like, I'm going to lose out on $500K. Oh, well, I'm going to be all right. I'm still making $35, $40 million this year. I'm going to be all right without that $500K. So, of course, the NBA wants their stars to play, but I don't know if $500K is going to be enough to motivate these dudes who are making $40 million
Just for
a season.
context, guys, rookie minimum salary right now, $953,000. That's the absolute bottom of the barrel. Vets, $2.7 million. Sure, for like relative minimum guys, it's a check.
It's going to matter, for
But
sure.
the other side of the pendulum is Damian Lillard, for example. We're tracking his situation right now. He can make $63 million in a couple years. Like, the stars and the people that people want to see are not looking at that $500K.
yeah. I don't know. I'm just.
You're a hater, but you were wrong last time, you said.
I was wrong
You
last
know.
time. I've been wrong many times. I'm usually wrong.
My only counter, my attempt to counter, just is that the bar was so low on that time of the year in terms of interest, in terms of engaged audience. I always think back to the 2011 lockout and what I learned about like the kind of behind the scenes reality that the NBA never wanted to say out loud, which is that like everything before Christmas was like expendable in their minds. You know what I mean? Like when they were holding out against the players, David Stern had looked at Christmas Day. He's like, well, the season actually begins on Christmas Day. So this, all these years later, is a way to, you know, have it increase in value. The bar is pretty low. You know, I mean, we even know when we run all these stories, October, November, you know, the audience goes up. But we'll see how it goes.
I mean, think about it like this. They wanted to improve the dunk contest, get stars in the dunk contest, right? So you get, what, $1 million for winning the dunk contest? Yeah. And now you got, like, people who casual fans have never heard of doing the dunk contest.
You just going to disrespect
right?
Jericho Sims like that? Come on, man.
Sorry, Jericho.
Shadon Sharp had to work on the second half of the season, though.
Shaedon Sharp is a rookie on a rookie scale deal, and he would have been spectacular. That dude,
I'm still mad
that
at
dude,
him
by the
about
way,
that. Come
is
on, man.
he is going to be awesome.
Yeah, as soon as he's going to win every dunk contest he's in.
But I don't just mean as a dunk contest. Like he is going to be one hell of a player. He's going to be awesome. But like he's on a rookie scale deal, and he pulls out of the dunk contest for twice as much money. Like it's just you need something more than the money. I don't know. Like, and you need to make the fans care because ultimately that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the fans to care, and by giving the players money, you're hoping, okay, if the players care, the fans will follow suit. I don't know. I just feel like there has to be something more tangible
stakes.
to the
Yeah,
team.
more stakes.
And
Yeah.
like
with
you said,
Marcus with it.
like if you win, you get 3 extra rest days. So it gives you incentive not to rest.
Yeah, I'm
Or
with
you
Marcus.
get like an extra, you get like a compensatory, you know, the picks in between the first and second round. You get like
Or salary
Players
cap
won't care about
relief.
compensatory picks.
they won't.
That's
but the
people
team
Kidding me?
coming
You
to
think
take
LeBron?
they
You think
won't, but
LeBron is wearing a shirt that says "F them picks" and being like, "Oh, we're playing for the compensatory
nah.
picks."
Forget
I'm with-
LeBron. The rest of the guys, that like that's the dude to take his job.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
like,
for sure. And I'm with Marcus. If you're going to think outside the box, then really do something outside the box. Like in season tournament, we got a 4-point line. Or we got a 15-second shot clock. Let's just, if we're going to do outside the box, then let's really do outside the box. Why not?
Yeah, man. If you rank top 3 in the NCAA, you get to join this tournament.
like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, spice it up, man.
You know what's funny, guys?
You
This
get a
is
ticket, man. I like that. Like, no matter where you are, you get an extra game. No matter you pick it, you get an extra game. If you win this, if you out the playoffs, you get one more game to get in. If you lose the series, you go like get out of Cancun free card. That's what it should be.
That's it. That's it.
I like that. I'm looking here, guys. This is a macro point of view. We sit here, and this is what we do in the media. Like playing tournament, we kind of rip it to shreds. Mid-season tournament, rip it to shreds. I have in front of me the NBA salary cap history over the course of the past 10 years. And for all the things that they do wrong, and this is something that is, I think, a main theme of this offseason and this summer and some of the other stuff we're going to get into, they're making money hand over fist. You know, the cap has gone from $70 million in 2015 to $136 million.
Double.
It's double, and it's insane. And a lot of these contracts we saw in free agency bear that out.
And it's almost 3x if you go 10 years, right? It was, what, 58 million in 2013?
Right,
So, yeah.
not 2010. It was a slow uptick until about 2015. Then, you know, your Warriors obviously took advantage of that cap spike during the Kevin Durant era, and they were on their way. Point being that as it relates to the tournament, mid-season tournament, that it's another way to make cash, and they're going to make a bunch of money. You know, Vegas, as we know, well beyond the NBA, has become, you know, one of the hottest cities out there to just continue to have events and make this thing a scene
And
like they
potential
do.
expansion teams.
Yeah, 100% down the road.
So hold on, they playing in Vegas?
The
The
championship.
semifinals,
Last
and
two
finals
rounds.
in Vegas.
Yeah, all right.
yeah,
got that.
last 2 rounds.
I'm like, whoa, wait a second. We going to Vegas for a regular
Again?
season game?
You know, on the later stage, I mean, it is media-wise. It's
Yeah.
another thing to cover, you know,
Yeah.
where you got to actually kind of take a look at it, take it seriously, and figure out what you're going to do.
You do.
I don't know.
kind of.
The rise in salary cap, I mean, I get it. I understand it. But isn't that proof you kind of don't need this? You know,
Yes.
they're not.
Well, I
they're
never-
making money. Like we talk about it all the time. But man, nobody's turning these games off.
I
They're
ain't
about to get
never-
another deal. Like
I ain't never heard nobody say they had enough money. That's
I was
for
going to
sure.
say, it's a reminder that
No
it's
such
never
thing as too
enough.
much money.
yeah, but you know, greed could lead you to some poor decisions,
For
right?
sure,
Right,
for sure.
right. That's why your wallet hurting right now, huh? Right, right.
I thought we was leaving old stuff alone.
Look, I don't think it's like bad for the league that
Yeah.
they're doing
Nah,
it
it's not, yeah.
because it's not like they're saying, okay, these don't count towards the regular season. You know, they're playing regular season games as tournament games. So like on Tuesdays and Fridays, those are tournament nights. You're playing on a Tuesday or a Friday in November. Those count towards the tournament. And that counts towards the group play that we were talking about as the first round.
Still extra juice. Yeah.
So you're still playing it as a little something. So it's not even that I don't like it. Like I didn't like the play-in tournament and was wrong. It's more that I don't understand why
there's not more
the incentive is to care.
Well, guess what? They could change it. I mean, Adam Silver has quickly made it very clear, course of the past 6-7 years, that his tenure is going to be all about being outside the box. Like that, they could add incentive down the road. They'll see how it goes this year. I could see them spicing it up as they go.
Yeah.
They should make those games Elam endings.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like Elam endings are always great in All-Star.
They
right?
are. All right, gentlemen, before we
every game except for one.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
The Elam ending saved the All-Star game for 1 year.
Yeah.
And then it went back to being
It certainly didn't
the
save
All-Star.
this last one.
Nah.
That's correct.
All right, we're going to segue to the next storyline. But before we do, I'm going to yell at our super producer, Andrew Schlecht, here, because I'm having FOMO right now, guys. Victor Wembanyama is playing in his second game as we sit here talking. I need a report. Andrew, is Wemby looking good or not good today? Wemby's playing better. Okay. He not a bust? We shouldn't give up?
He's officially not a bust.
All right. I mean, we're in the middle of this thing here. We got Spurs playing Celtics as we speak. No, that's not. I'm looking at the wrong
Wizards
game.
are playing the Celtics.
Sorry, that was the wrong screen. Let's talk offseason action. Mr. Thompson, you went to Jordan Poole's press conference. That is former Warrior Jordan Poole yesterday. And as we sit here talking about money and the different pay scales that have come with the cap rises, not too long ago, Jordan Poole signed a 4-year, $128 million deal with the Warriors. Not too long ago, he was a big part of their future as a guy who would come up behind Steph and Clay and be part of their two-timeline approach. That obviously came to an end with that trade to Washington, and he addressed the media for the first time the other day with Kyle Kuzma and talking about his Wizards life. Takeaways, perspective, how was that event?
It was not as, pyro spectacular as I was hoping. I was hoping he had a diss track ready for Draymond Green. And he was like, yo, give me a beat, and just went in. You know what? I think Draymond might have liked that too, right? Like, Draymond would have went on his pot with a comeback.
He would have ran.
They would have turned
Would have
into.
been great for the ratings.
Oh, it would have been incredible.
He just would have been thrilled about the ratings.
I was just mostly curious
Downloads.
about what he had to say, but I mean, he was all for it. I'm writing about this, for The Athletic. He's happy. You could tell, and it really pops compared to how he was over this last season, right? You could be like, oh, I remember this Jordan Poole, like the kind of fun-loving, happy.
Interesting.
Yeah. You could tell, he's very happy. We tried to bait him. I absolutely tried. I'm like, come on, JP, you got to
I love the transparency. Look at you.
Yeah, come on, man. You know what we're trying to do. He's like, I hear you. I know what you're trying to do. I know what Anthony Slater's trying to do. We tried to get him to address Draymond. He just kept looking forward. I don't know how long this happiness lasts and, with this setup, but this is what he wanted. And I know a lot of people think it was Draymond. That was one of the issues, but it wasn't the only issue. Jordan Poole proved to himself that he's a starting NBA player, but with the Warriors, he had no avenue to start. Mm-hmm. As long as there's Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, there was no avenue to start. He's waiting for an injury. He's waiting for something to happen. They can't go small because he's not defensively stout to make that work. But now he finally gets unlimited minutes, unlimited shots. It's his team, and this is what he felt like he deserves. Let's see how he handles it, but this is what he wanted.
Don't tell Kyle Kuzma he's got unlimited shots.
Yeah, Kuz. We did ask Kuz about that. These two dudes are not bashful about their desires.
No,
right?
you know what? I honestly
He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm happy about that."
There are dudes who want to take shots, and they will get frustrated with other guys who want to take shots. I feel like those guys are going to work together.
I agree. But I also love, by the way, that the Wizards have become the let him cook team. So
Oh yeah,
Russell Westbrook is frustrated in Houston, not enjoying his James Harden life with all the sacrifices that came with his Rockets experience. Then we start hearing that Russ wants to get back to playing Russ. Hey, Scotty Brooks, bring me in. Wizards. Kuz and Jordan cut from the same cloth when it comes to scoring mentality. But I could see it working. I don't know how many games they're going to win.
Yeah, I was about to say, how you defining working?
Right.
I mean they're not going to be good, but
They're not
people
gonna be
talk
good.
about the Wizards like they're disastrously bad, and they're not like they have NBA players. Daniel Gafford's a solid center. Denny Avdia is a good defender. Like they have solid players on that roster still. Delon Wright is sneakily one of the better backup points in the league. Like they've got a little something there.
And
Daniel
I think
Gafford, the most underrated center in the league, with the initials DG.
oh wow, how long is
With the
that?
initials,
list?
hey, Daniel
I was going
Gafford.
to say, Kevon
I
Looney
like
is
Daniel
on line
Gafford,
too.
though.
Daniel
I like
Gafford's,
that.
Daniel
Daniel
Gafford's a
Gafford.
good rim protector. He
I like
throws down
Daniel
lobs. You look at the advanced metrics on Gafford, and that dude blocks shots like crazy, protects the rim.
And
His
I
rim
think-
protection metrics are awesome.
Also, I think with this new CBA and something we haven't talked about as much, that 90% rule, where some of these teams at the bottom are going to be incentivized. Like Indiana's incentivized to go sign Bruce Brown. The Rockets are incentivized to go sign Dylan Brooks and all of these guys. You're not just going to sit around and just not pay guys so you can be bad. You got to spend money. And some of these teams don't want to spend money. They want to be bad, but you got to if you want to get your salary cap dollars at the end of the day. I'm not salary cap, your luxury tax dollars to kick back at you. You got to spend money. You got to bring in guys. So that's going to help you be better. That's going to prevent you from having these teams who are winning 15 games at the end of the year, because you got to have a couple good players on your team. You got to have somebody you're spending money on. And that's going to be a pathway to have maybe 28 wins instead of 19 by the end of the season.
Can I say something? I hated the salary floor rule that the league did. I don't understand why it was a priority for the Players Association to get the salary floor rule. The rule previously was that you had to be at 90%. You had to be at the salary floor, 90% of the salary cap, by the time the regular season ended. You had to be there. And if you weren't there, it's not like you just went the whole year like not just paying way less money. You then had to pay the
Split it
difference
up.
between the salary floor and whatever your team payroll was, distributed amongst the players on your team. So you're still
But
paying the
evenly,
money.
though, right?
Yeah, evenly amongst players on your team.
Yeah, I'm sure some
Now-
players like, nah, you give him 10%,
Right.
give me that 90.
Right.
But
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
not at the salary floor by the start of the season, then you have to pay the difference distributed evenly amongst the whole league, and it's distributed. So it's the same amount of money going to the players. It's just the start of the season versus the end of the season, and you just used up like a negotiation tactic in order to get the salary floor deadline basically pushed up. You're not getting any more money. It's not like teams that had a $7 payroll before were just only paying their players $7.
But-
I
Some of these teams
I
are
didn't
also
get it.
skirting that rule by like signing a dude from Europe in February just to eat up a little bit of the money that they had to spend. So a lot of times guys were looking across the locker room like, I would have made $4 million, but now you're here, so now I'm only gonna get $2 million at the end of the season. Thanks, buddy, who's gonna play like 12 minutes over the next 2 months.
That's totally true, except now when you're below the salary floor, it's distributed amongst like 9 million people. So you're going to get 27 cents, and you're going to go home, and you're going to forget about it.
Fred, I love you. I've been in Vegas too long to be unpacking the CBA right now.
It's all I've done. This is all I've done. in
I'm not
Vegas.
here for it. I want to hear, Marcus, the other side of the Jordan Poole discussion. What is post-Jordan Poole life with the Warriors, with Mr. Chris Paul, not young but not done, coming to town?
Kumbaya. Everybody loves it.
It's wild. Before you answer this, and I've been saying this, I think it's so funny that, like, the idea of adding Chris Paul to the
It's
locker room
so
is an upgrade
funny.
in chemistry. Like, is there anybody that he doesn't have beef and history with in that locker room, but he's somehow an upgrade over the vibe with Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, that's automatic reference, though, as much as you can say about Chris Paul. You know, if he's got the ball, you're Jonathan Kuminga, and he tells you to cut, you're not clapping like, yo, pass me the ball so I can shoot. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's still Chris Paul, right? Like, it's still an OG. You know, I think the bigger upgrade isn't necessarily leadership. It's somebody – they just need another player who can have the ball in his hands and Steve Kerr not have a heart attack. Like, that's what they
Yeah, yeah.
need. That's what they had with Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston, even going back to Jarrett Jack with under Mark Jackson. Teams are going to double Steph. They're going to do it. You got to have somebody else who can have the ball. And Jordan Poole, as much as I love him, like, you just don't know what you're getting. It was like, you know, Will at the dice table last night. He was like, you know, it may hit, it may not, right? Like,
Shoot or
especially
shoot.
this season. So I think they need that. They need, especially late in the game and playoffs, fourth quarter,
Hey, look who's on TV,
can't
Chris
bear
Paul.
it, can't bear the turnover. Like, they feel good about putting the ball in Chris Paul's hands.
And you also want to be able to remain functional on offense because you know Steph's going to miss time, whether it be second night of back-to-backs. He ends up missing like
That's
20
the
or so
problem, though.
games.
You know Chris Paul going to miss time, right? Like, and what if those missed
Right.
times coincide, right?
I
Like,
know. I
that's
love.
it.
So CP is your load management
Yeah,
solution.
like,
Yeah, but I mean, but a lot of times when Steph was out and Jordan Poole was running the offense, there was a whole lot of everybody watching Jordan Poole. And then with CP,
But, hey,
you're going to move the ball the way you want to move
In
the
baseball,
ball.
they call them innings eaters, right? Sometimes you
Yeah.
just need a dude to give you 5 innings, right?
Yeah.
Jordan
Sure.
Poole, one of the best innings eaters in basketball, right?
No doubt.
Clay out, Jordan like, yo, I got this, because he was a starter who were just waiting for an opportunity to start. He play every game. He's gonna play 30 minutes. He'll take the 25 shots. He'll be fine if he costs you the game. Like he
Right.
can handle it. He ain't gonna fall apart. Like he did that. And with as old as this team is, you need somebody to give you, all right, 20 games. It's yours.
Marcus
Yeah.
is the only beat writer in history who came out here, decided to analyze the Jordan Poole trade by saying, you know what? He's basically Levon Hernandez. That's where we're at.
I mean, basically, right? No, who's the guy? Come on, you know my guy, Yasmero Petit.
Yusmero Petit.
You a Giants fan? How do you not know this?
I'm an old Giants fan.
He had some good
Unless they
years,
got
like
like
spot starter,
Unless they got like
reliever.
four,
Yeah.
like
But
four
he wasn't
trophies,
an
I give up.
innings eater.
Yeah, no, because they
He
would
was
do
a reliever
They
who
would
could
do the
spot
opener.
start.
Yeah, they would do the
Yeah.
opener, give him 2, and then Petit got you for the next 6. You good,
I
right?
feel bad
He
for
had a
saying
couple good years
we
for
went
the
from
Giants.
talking salary cap to like
I've lost control of this pod.
Oh, yeah.
mid-relief pitchers
I'm,
that don't nobody
I'm
know.
down to just name some random relievers while we're at
Man,
it.
Yasmero
over
Petit's
here.
whip is unquestionable.
I'm over
Talk-
here drinking
wonder-
something
wonder-
that's not powerful enough.
I'm just trying to
Sam,
wonder
get us
about
on
like how
track.
Scott Ayer got a MVP vote in 2005.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all I'm trying to figure out.
You
Like,
see what I got to
how
deal
did-
with every week?
How did Scott Ayer get an
All right,
MVP
you
vote in
knock it off.
2005?
You can't tell me
He
Walt
threw like-
Weiss was the 87 Rookie of the Year. Like you can't.
He threw like 68 innings as a setup guy. Had like a 3.2 ERA, and he got. He was,
Next
he was-
segment, we're talking Mike Eldreddy.
He got a 10th place MVP vote. Makes no sense.
All right, here's why I kind of love the Warriors move with CP. I'm going to pretend you guys are not even talking. I told Andre Iguodala this the other day. He made a visit to the California Classic, caught up with him a little bit. Like, and I'm biased because I'm in my 40s, right? I was like, Dre, like, I kind of love seeing the old heads just decide, like, we're going to do it our way, and we're going to go ahead and try to make this thing happen one last time and lean into it. Because it was so uncomfortable the last couple of years with when you knew that Stephen Clay and Draymond, like, even before the punch, that they were, to a degree, having to be political. Like, oh, Jordan's great, and James is great, and all these different guys. Like, I don't know if it's going to work, but I love that they wrote the script. We'll see if they can do it. It reminds me a little bit, and this is a cautionary tale, is like the disastrous Lakers team of a couple of years ago when LeBron was the one who wanted Russ, and they tried to do that with LeBron and AD and Russ, and it blew up in their face. But basketball-wise, like, do we think
I was
if
thinking-
they're healthy?
I thought you was going before that with Steve Nash to the Lakers.
Right.
Oh, boy.
That
You know
didn't
what I'm
work out.
saying?
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing with this union with CP and the Warriors is the Warriors have had a whole lot of success playing their way, and CP has had a whole lot of success playing his way, and those ways are very different, right? It's a whole lot of CP on the ball, come set the pick for me, we're going to run the same play over and over again, and with the Warriors, it's all just spontaneous ball movement. We're running off screens, Steph's on the ball, Clay's on the ball, Clay's off the ball, and we kind of just figure it out as we go. And with CP, he's constantly in control of every possession, where guys are standing on the court, who's setting picks for him, and he's just going to have to adapt to playing a much different way.
I don't think so, though. I think
No, he's going to be himself.
But I think
That's
they
what they want.
need that other level. Like
You
the
gotta have
game
some
ain't
variance,
always,
right?
yeah. Like that's what happened to them. They said they maxed out. I don't think they maxed out. Fourth quarter, close ball game. They got cooked by Lonnie Walker because they couldn't go back down and score because the Lakers are a good defense, and you can't just. LeBron knows every play you run in, so you can't just rely on, oh, I hope he makes a mistake when I cut back there. Like, at some point, you need somebody to be like, yo, I got the ball, and you're not going to stop me. And if they double team Steph Curry, they don't have anybody else who could do that. Now that's where you're like, all right, CP got this. The question is, when it's time to run, what do they do with CP? But I feel like this is one of the best point guards of all time. He'd figure it out.
Yeah, I think we also need to give Chris Paul more credit than that. That dude is so smart.
Oh, no question.
People said the same stuff when he went to Houston, was going to play with James Harden. How's he going to work? That first year in Houston, it was like magic. Those two guys were so good together figuring out how to play. I mean, my question more is, okay, so Chris Paul, let's say he's as good as he was this past season, maybe even a little bit better. Maybe he's closer to what he was in Phoenix a couple years ago when he was awesome. What's going to happen defensively? Because you mentioned
Can't play
Okay,
Poole
Jordan
and CP,
Poole out
yeah.
there is a little different. Chris Paul's not. He's so smart and he fights so hard, but he's not the defender that he was 10 years ago because he's almost 40, and he doesn't have the size. So now you got him and Steph and Clay out there, and Clay isn't what he used to be defensively either.
Correct.
Even though he competes and he's smart,
Yeah.
but he's not an all-defense caliber guy like he used to be. So now the question becomes, okay, you're going up against a team that has a couple of really good wings, or a couple of really good guard, really good wing, and now do you have to bench Chris Paul for the end of that game?
I mean, but look,
how are you going to figure it out?
Or
defensively?
you got to figure out the start. Chris Paul, I don't know how Chris Paul starts. How does he start?
There's no way he can start.
How does he start?
There's no way he can start.
I'm pretty sure he might think he's starting. He might think he's starting, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Jordan Poole thought
Can we go
so,
bigger
too.
picture, though, too, beyond the defensive concerns? Like, take all the context of the history and what all of them have accomplished away, including Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Just in right now, 2023-24, today's NBA, the Western Conference. Like, is this a good team? Is this a top 4 team? Is this a title contender? What is this?
I mean, as long as you got Steph, Draymond, and Clay, you're going to be in it. You know, even if they're the 6th seed going into the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous once they get there because they know how to win. They know how to get it all together and figure it out. And we know Steph can always blow up at any moment when you need a win. So they're going to be dangerous whether CP figures it out or not, just because those 3 guys just know how to win playoff games.
I feel like health is a huge factor, and I think this is one. You know, you'd be like, oh well, if any team you can say if they're healthy, yeah, that's
I'm
true.
loving all your voices, by
That's
the way.
true,
This
right?
is good.
But I mean, some teams are higher risk than the others, right? Clippers is like, yo, prove to me you can be healthy. I think health is a real concern with the Warriors. Like,
No doubt.
they got about 3 or 4 guys who should not be playing 75 games, right? Like, you're asking for them to fail in the playoffs. And to me, I feel like their best players are good enough, but we all know that's not how you win a title, man. Like, it's Christian
yeah.
Braun coming off
Yeah.
the bench doing, you know what I'm
Brown.
saying? Like, it's Bruce Brown. It's those. So to me, it depends on Moses Moody. It depends on Jonathan Kuminga. But the key is not even one of those guys. It's Wiggins. The reason they struggled because
Yeah.
Wiggins was gone for like 3/4 of the season, and when he did play, he was hurt, right? And you could see a different Wiggins in the playoffs. Like, he wasn't the Wiggins that won a title.
Nah,
They won a
nah.
title because Wiggins was a monster. So if Wiggins can get back to that, because you're talking about who guard who, the answer to all of those questions is Wiggins,
Wiggins.
right? Like, who's going to guard Wiggins? Wiggins, maybe some Kuminga, and more Wiggins, right? And Draymond, obviously. But to me, the answer to the question is in the other dudes, right?
Sure.
Like, that's what it's going to be. Then you lose Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
So now it's even more like, what will they have? How good will these guys be?
What's my man name? Pamitsky was the rookie.
Pajimski.
Pajimski.
Yeah,
He gonna get
Brandon
him some rum
Pajimski.
this year too. Why not?
You think?
Steve don't play rookies. Come on, man.
You think? I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you something. Kuminga's really talented, and he's had great moments, but I feel like he has never been in Steve Kerr's circle of trust. Like, even when he's playing well and he's out there, like, something's going to happen where he could potentially fall out. Does he get to a point this year where he just enters the circle of trust and
I
he's
don't
in
think
there
you got a choice.
consistently?
I don't think you got a choice. I think, that was one of them little behind the scenes, little tug of wars. Like, the management wanted them to play the youngsters more. Steve and the veterans like, man, we need people who can win. So they basically just got rid of everybody who could possibly
Hey, sometimes good stuff comes out of it.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he has a choice now.
When I was covering the Thunder, I think they wanted Alex Abrinas to play some more. It's a shooter from Spain, and good young player, good shooter. And Billy Donovan kept playing Anthony Morrow. Just kept playing Anthony Morrow. It was Morrow's last year in the season, the last season of his career. And at the trade deadline, guess who got traded?
Right.
Anthony
Get him
Morrow.
out of here.
No choice but to play Alex Abrinas.
Gentlemen, we got about a 3-4 minute window, and we've barely talked about the city that we're in, the actual hoop we're watching out here. I just need some Vegas observations, whether it's Will losing his backside at the table,
We ain't got to talk about that.
whether it's Fred staying up too late or Marcus, holding on to his soul. What do we think of Vegas? And we talking hoop. I mean, Wemby had a tough debut. I don't know if you want to talk about him. Scoot, who got hurt, like just big takeaways from Summer League.
Scoot is so fun to watch live.
Yeah.
What a blast it was to watch him live. His explosiveness and his control of the game,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah,
real
yeah.
point guard. He's a real
his
point
control
guard.
of the, when you watch a guy live, like it just feels different when you watch it on TV. Some guys, and watching him also, like that dude is not built like a teenager. It's crazy. But his control of the game, the pace that he plays with, his change of speeds. Like most young guys who are explosive and athletic, they just have a fastball, right?
99% of them.
They're like Nuke LaLoosh, right? They just try to chuck it in.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's it.
But, you
They're
know,
like Scott Air before he got an
and then the
MVP
other
vote,
guys
you
are
know?
like, Jamie Moore or Barry Zito. They don't have no fastball.
Yeah,
just all off speed.
Yeah, just
Save
like
us,
08
Sam,
Mike
save
Mussino
us.
You know what I'm
finally
saying?
won
Yeah,
20
yeah,
games.
absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
like he just did it with 84 mile an hour fastball and his changeup, his knuckle curve, and he was good. But like Scoot changes speeds. Like I don't know. I had
It's
a
almost
blast
like
watching
they
him
should
live.
trade their other point guard. It's just an idea.
It's on the
Possibly.
table.
Now the guy.
I wonder if that's
I
what
was-
happened. Did Dame seem be like, yeah, this dude,
Draft a franchise point guard.
this
Oh
is
my
squad.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
the guy, I think for me, summer league. Obviously we all here to see the rookies, but I think for me, I come to summer league every year even more excited about seeing the guys who make that jump from year 1 to year 2. And a dude I just finished watching, Jabari Smith.
Jabari, yeah.
good,
he looks
bruh.
like a completely different player now. His confidence is through the roof.
He might be the best player on Houston.
He muscled up now. He's driving
Fred
to the
VanVleet
lane,
is not happy with
bouncing
this
off of people. He's
I
going to be
know
a
that.
completely different type of player for Houston, and we know they want to be a whole different team now with Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, Jeff Green. They want to be competitive, and the big question for them this year is kind of similar to Golden State. How much do we play our vets? How much do we play our young guys? And Jabari Smith, I think, has proven he's going to be a dude they got to play because he's going to bring value on both sides.
I'm
of the
excited
court.
to see a lot of their guys because I think Ime's a really good coach.
Yeah.
And the last time he was a coach, he was in the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? Like you had kind of a taste of that. And is he going to develop? Of course. But he's going to want to compete. And he's got those vets. I think a lot of their guys could take a jump.
Your guy's sharp too. He looks
is.
like he's got.
I-
He's like,
I
all
like-
right, I'm playing.
I
I'm
like
ready.
Portland's got
But that's what
something.
you want to see in summer league, right? You want to see a second-year player come in. It's like, all right, kids,
Yeah.
I got this. Like Keegan Murray is like, Keegan Murray is
my
like,
goodness.
all right, man, have a seat, man. Now you just showing out. You like playing CYO. Or
Yeah,
something
there's,
like.
there's always a tradition where people get really angry. They're like, he's too good for summer league.
Yeah, he should
Like
be
I
on
remember
Summer
when
League.
Jordan Clarkson was too good for summer league. He's too good. Sit down, Jordan Clarkson.
Get out of
he
here,
is
man.
too good for summer league.
We
He's
ain't come
ruining
here
it
to
for
see you
everybody.
dominate like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
This
nah,
is too
man, we
much.
ain't here
This
for
is
that.
too
We
much.
ain't
So
here
get
for
him
that.
out of here. Yeah, I mean, Shaden Sharp looks really good. I don't know if they can get a big haul back for him. It just got to be possible. And you go forward with Simons, who's a hell of a shooter and a scorer, and is still really young. And you got Scoot, and you got Sharp, and whatever you get back for Dame,
Jeremy Grant.
who has a player option in year 5. Good for Jeremy Grant.
Shout out to Jeremy Grant. Keep getting them checks.
Good
No
for
doubt.
Jeremy Grant.
Gentlemen,
that's a future.
You keep getting them checks too. Appreciate you guys for coming on.
Oh, we
Appreciate
get checks for
the
this?
viewers and the
Where
listeners.
checks at?
Same check.
Give it
different
to me
day.
in chips. No,
Same
I'm
check,
playing.
different day.
You're done, buddy. You've done enough work. Save the rest for Harris on Tropatulas.
Appreciate you all and stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.